it for you.
Baby, don't forget the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I mean the floor is yours. If it come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how I prove the floor is yours. 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 The floor, yeah, the floor is yours.
Now it's my turn to tell you.
Hey, welcome again tonight to a wonderful, wonderful podcast. The Floor is Yours podcast. We want to shout out to all our friends and family at Mogul Media and Mogul TV. And we have a wonderful guest tonight. That guest is Ty Washington. He's going to reach out and let the world know what we have planned, how he's a part of it, and how you too can be a part of what we have planned for the March 17th and 18th in Frisco at the Embassy Suites Hotel. It is the Conversation Summit. I need everybody to get together, get some energy, and remember that the Conversation Summit is coming to your area. We want to reach out to the community. That's mothers, children. If you have an idea, entrepreneurs of all walks of life, please come out and be a part. But more importantly, bring your kids with you. We have some important information. We have Miss Serena that's going to bring out a wonderful day for us. We have some keynote speakers that are going to blow your mind. We have prizes and we're feeding you. And we want to definitely say, hi, ladies and gents. We've got people in the comment section. Tonight is going to be on fire. Again, this is to talk about the Conversation Summit and also to talk about some of the things that we have planned, and for Ty Washington to kind of speak to us tonight on BSA, what's going on, and just kind of let you guys know. So I'm going to kick this over to Flex, and then he'll go and give you a few words. I want you all to go out, like, comment, and subscribe to all of our channels. Remember that it is important for you to be a part of the community and a part of this conversation. Hello, Octavia. It's great to see you here tonight. So, Flex, go ahead and give us a little bit more information about what we're doing and what Mr. Washington is here today. And Ty, do you want us to call you Ty, Mr. Washington? Are we family or not?
We're family. Call me Ty.
All right. Okay. I love it. Yeah. Okay, let's go. So,
just real quick, we got 2 days of just jam-packed events. That Friday, we're going to do the networking event where we're going to have vendors, community leaders, and other people just coming out and learning who we are, what we're about, learning each other, passing out information, and just welcoming each other. At 7 o'clock, we got a awesome play. It's by Dreamer Production, and it promotes the communication between kids and parents. It's a lot of fun in there as well, but it's going to be some serious moments in there too. So you don't want to miss that. And at the end, we're going to end it with just a little social event where we get to hang out, dance, take pictures at the photo booth. We got a 360 photo booth and some good music. So that next day, though, is really going to be the heavy hitter. We got 2 panels that's going to be talking about relationships, the new currency. And, we just believe that to be successful, to be anything in this world, you need to learn how to build and foster meaningful relationships. That second panel is going to be to discuss community outreach. And we got, again, a bunch of smart, accomplished people participating in that. The big part, though, is the pitch contest. We are all about promoting entrepreneurship and trying to get it into people's mind as young as possible. Kids, before their mind gets polluted with a lot of what's going on in this world.
That's right.
Promoting creativity, teaching people how to aspire and all these things right there. So come on out to the pitch contest, pitch your idea, and, you get enter a chance to win some of the great prizes. We're creating commercials, creating LLCs for your website design, logo designs, a number of other things, business and personal coaching. So, and even if you don't have an idea, but you just want to be inspired, come out and see people that are doing it. You just never know, how you can catch fire just from seeing it. So, and we got a great panel of speakers. Mr. Ty Washington, appreciate you saying yes. We got Mayor Curtis Cornelius from out here in Little Elm. We got Councilman Janelle Williams, Councilwoman Angeletta Williams, and a couple other business too. So just come out, be a part of it. March 17th and 18th. You do not It's only $10 for kids. I mean, for adults, but you just got to register. Go to the conversation summit.com to register and get your tickets. All right.
And
with
make
that,
sure as you're registering to get your tickets that you also in the comment, if you can leave the children that you are bringing with you. So that's always good as well.
Yeah.
So if you could go out to our website page. If you have any questions, you can always reach us on the Floor is Yours podcast. You can go to Moshe Inc. Moshe Inc. also gives you .org, I'm sorry, and it gives you an opportunity to also ask questions. You can also send an email that also allows us, it kind of lets us keep a tally of the head count of what we have. We've already kind of, we want to make sure that we're not too over the mark. So definitely come in, ask questions. You know, if you're bringing a bus of people, you know, that's great. We want you there, but it's also good to note to kind of let us know what we're looking for. And also, we wanted to say that that 360 booth is by one of our young entrepreneurs. She is 16 years old. And her parents got behind her in order to help her launch her business. So again, this is what this summit is about. It is about helping our youth launch businesses, build entrepreneurship in our communities. It is okay to aspire to be in athletics. It's okay to want to dream to be a football player, but it is nothing wrong with wanting to be an entrepreneur, finding businesses, building and buying out your block. There is nothing wrong with that. Those type of things will never get old.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and we're going to kick it on over to Ty over here. And Ty is going to let us know a few things about who he is and kind of give us the elevator pitch and what his focus and mission is for the community and for himself, because I know everybody is also on a personal self-growth as well. And, you know, we're always growing and changing. So we'd like to hear a little bit about you as much as you can share.
Well, thank you, Ladybug and Flex. I appreciate you guys for having me on tonight. I'm currently the Director of Scouting Outreach for the Circle 10 Council, Boy Scouts of America. One of the wonderful things I get to do is I manage a budget of about $3.6 million, and that is literally to go into places where scouting wouldn't exist. Places where financially it's not feasible or there's not enough leadership, and we actually hire people to run those programs. We give them a curriculum, and we make sure all those young people have the exact same scouting experience that they would otherwise in a traditional scouting program. We're actually poised to have our first Eagle Scout. And if you're not familiar with the scouting program, it's two phases. There's Cub Scouts, and then there's ScoutsBSA, which is our older youth program. So Cub Scouts is usually kindergarten through fifth grade. It's character development. We're basically just reinforcing all those great character traits that mom and dad are teaching at home. We're just teaching them to be great citizens and productive people in society moving forward. And then the ScoutsBSA program is actually one of the leading leadership training for young people. So we're now co-ed. It's a program for boys and girls. And through the ScoutsBSA program, it's ran through the patrol method. So it gives each person a leadership opportunity. So it's a patrol method. So there's a senior patrol leader, and each patrol has a patrol leader. And through them, you know, the adult gives guidance and leadership, but they decide on the meeting. They are the ones that carry it out. So every step of the way, a young person has an opportunity for leadership. The coolest thing is when they get an opportunity to rank up and get that Eagle Scout. You want to talk about being an entrepreneur, you have to put together an Eagle Scout project. You have to design it. You have to finance it. You have to recruit the people who will work it. And you have to lay out all those plans. So most people, adults haven't done a layout like that. So to do it from 14 to 18, I have the most confidence that when they enter the workforce or become entrepreneurs, they're very confident in creating a plan, following their vision. A little bit about me. I've been in the profession 18 years. Started my career as a district executive in Detroit. I worked there for 4.5 years. Got a leadership opportunity to become a district director in Chicago. I was at several different positions in Chicago. Left there as a field director, and my numbers were so good they recruited me to the national office to be a regional sales consultant. So my job was to go out through the central and western region and work with councils and executives to train their staff on how to be more inclusive, go into areas they're not comfortable being, how to sell to different communities. If you don't know our pain points and what a lot of people, and here's a little history lesson. People think, I'll say generally, that scouting's for suburban white people.
Right.
In the 60s, our communities had tremendous Boy Scout troops.
Wow.
And 50s, 60s, 70s, I don't know, right around the 80s and 90s, it kind of fell off. When I was a young person in Detroit early in my career, I meet principals, politicians, businessmen, and they would tell me stories of going to camp. And so there's a rich history. I think the challenge now is getting families involved. I'm not going to say our generation doesn't like to volunteer, but there was a generation that's all they did was volunteer and were very active with their children. And that's my job, to kind of inspire those parents to come along with the kids, get involved. And I think it's just an amazing experience. And one of the things I talked to Flex about was, one of the great things about scouting is exposing our young people to things that they're not normally exposed to. Outdoors. We also have a vocation side, which is our exploring, which creates internships at different various job opportunities. So if you're curious about working in a certain space, we probably have explore post for there. So there's just a lot of things, and exposure is huge. And I think we need to learn to get, I think this opportunity that you guys are talking about is a great way to expose young people to unlocking their inner talents. And I think that's what scouting provides, because we have so many different avenues of events and activities. I also was telling Flex about the merit badges. Yeah. They're not the same old ones where they're doing the flags and the Morse code. I mean, we got computer programming and I think they even have one for entrepreneurship and citizenship in the community and financial management. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that if you haven't been to the 2023 Boy Scouts, you need to come check us out. So
this is not your grandfather's Scouts, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And so thank you for that. And one of the questions you kind of answered, one of the questions that we have here today is, and it's more of a, it's a two-parter as well. I'll ask you like this. Why do you feel that our community or this generation is not reaching out? What do you think?
I don't know. I think
media plays a part in it. Yeah,
I mean, I think we're a very hands-off generation, and I think the generation behind us is even more hands-off. I think you'll see, and I don't like to get into millennials and Gen Zs and all that, but you notice, people in the 80s and 90s, like. I go into anecdotes. So I hired a young lady. She's about 22, and she told me, and it made me feel good. Sometimes I feel old. She said, "You grew up in the 80s." I was like, and like if you see a lot of the stuff from the 80s is coming back, and what they don't understand is we didn't have all the same cool stuff that they have. So we actually had to go outside. Our parents had to be with us. But I think they're jealous of a lot of the freedoms that we had, and I think that's why we're so self-sufficient as a generation. We left the house at 10 and came home before the lights was off. And we knew how, where not to be, how to be safe, check in with mom and dad. So it's a generational thing. And, at the end of the day, you can't blame your parents. But I mean, now it's us who need to be more active. And so I do think social media think about it. You don't even have to go outside if you want to go grocery shopping, if you want to go shopping for shoes. And so imagine what it's like to be interactive as a parent, whether it's through athletics. I just signed my daughter up for soccer. I was my son's basketball coach for 2 years, and I needed a break. But at the end of the day, I'll probably be her coach. And I don't mind being active. I never played soccer, but I can figure it out, and I know how to talk to young people and try to motivate them to be good. So, I mean, I don't know the answer on why we're hands off. Like I said, I think media and social media has a huge part about that. And like if we get in the habit of just buying things online and clicking a button and not being active and going to get it, I think why wouldn't that translate in being active with our kids? Because I mean, the babysitter now is the tablet, the iPad,
YouTube,
Netflix.
Netflix.
And I mean, I tell my kids all the time, I said the pause button didn't exist when I was a kid.
Yes.
I learned to negotiate. 7 minutes left on TV. I said, Mom, hold on 1 second, 7 minutes. But if you didn't complete that, if you didn't make up your bed in 7 minutes, it was a problem. So
it was a problem. When you put your feet on the floor before you walk out the room, that bed has to be made.
it had to be. It had to be. You couldn't even turn the TV on.
And if you got to
keep those questions coming, and people are laughing. Keep those questions coming. We love what you guys are saying and doing in the comment section. But Ty, you're absolutely right. So, what are one of the things that you've been trying to do to bring more family and community together and making creating more awareness?
Well, I think so through our program. I'm and I'll be very transparent. I'm not a fan of free. I think anything worth doing, you have to have some skin in the game. Case in point, we have a wonderful event activity last year. It's called Fishing Fun Day. We have 3 camps, but one is a diamond in the rough. It's Camp Wisdom. Flex came out, he saw it, beautiful, acres and acres of land, and we never have a problem getting families out to that location. We have an amazing event coming up on March 11th. And last year, you know how Texas weather is. The temperature was 30 degrees in the morning, and it was a free event. We had 300 people signed up, 100 showed up and it turned out to be a beautiful day. The sun was out, and that's my challenge with free. If they paid something, and so I think, not saying we gotta get away from free, but we have to have some sort of skin in the game, and that entrepreneur spirit will show. There's a way I could find a way to pay my way, whether it's through networking, whether it's through investing in myself. Like the young lady with 360, her family invested in her. Mm-hmm. They supported her dream. You have to have some sort of skin in the game in order to motivate a lot of these young peoples.
Because people that pay attention.
They do.
So, you're not going to, most people don't spend their money on something and say, hey, I'm not going to be a part of this, even though I spent their money. It's like, I spent my money, so I'm going to go,
Hey, so let me just add, and I absolutely agree with you. And I just want to add, though, there is the element, and we talked about this the other day, the inequities in our community. And some people generally don't have it. So I agree. Skin in the game does, bring more commitment. So sometimes we can offer free, sometimes even just a low dollar, donation.
Oh, yeah. A lot. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that. A lot of what we do is subsidized. So even if, like let's say the event costs $40, even if you pay $5 or $10, I've seen events where someone paid $5, it started to rain. If you paid $5, you're gonna drive out there to see if it's still going on. You're like, I don't know, they outside. So if you didn't pay anything, you're gonna stay at home. Like, they probably not doing nothing.
Right. That is true. That is so true.
But you're gonna be like, let me.
So you said that sometimes the amount can devalue the event.
That's a good point. That is a good point, man. So thankfully this one is indoors. So if it is raining, hey, and we got valet parking. So and it's complimentary. So we just pull up to the covered area, man. We just need y'all to get your butts out here, man. This is gonna be a wonderful event, man.
That's right. So, it really is.
So again, just on the vein of financial support, so one thing that you and I talked about out there, and we had a lot of conversation, man. But some organizations got all the money and some have none. And I can appreciate how you're willing to lend your support when the opportunity is there. And I wonder if you could just take a moment to talk about, like, if there's an opportunity for organizations to partner with you based off the charter that you're tasked with.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the way, like I said, I'm not thrilled with the structure, but it's basically, if you are part of my program at Scout Reach, the kids have a wonderful meeting. They have a full curriculum, but if you have young people that you want to expose to scouting and you want to partake in our events and activities, or you want to expose them to different things around Dallas, we have funding for that. We provide transportation. My thing is, if you're a parent and you're taking part of our free program, all I ask is participation. Use it up.
Not just dropping them off. Participate.
Right. This is not a daycare.
Well, it's definitely. We had someone take some kids to the museum, the Museum of Illusions. We had some take them to the Ross Perot. So, it's a different levels of exposure. We have some that, they take them to the Rough Riders games and the other game. But like, there's so many things in the DFW area that you can expose these young people to. And, we'll provide the transportation.
Mm-hmm.
It's I have a lot of wiggle room on how we utilize scouting. Obviously want you to partake in the scouting program, and it's a wonderful program for our young people. especially the ScoutsBSA program. But there's so many more things that we can utilize. And
So
so,
can I be transparent? When we get them out there, man, I'm letting you have them at least enough time to pitch your organization. So
come on down. Come on down.
So can we take a moment and hear some of these questions, Ladybug, before we go to the next topic?
I'll let you. Yeah, let's go ahead. Hit some of them.
So got a lot of people just saying thank you, and that's awesome. But here's a question from Nikki. She says,
What type of volunteer
opportunities? Huh?
What type of volunteer opportunities do they offer within the community?
No, great question. So, I mean, a lot of our volunteer opportunities on my side are leadership. So just giving leadership to young people. We also have paid programs. So if you have a school or a site and you're currently mentoring young people, so it sounds like a marriage. So like utilize my program, adopt a Cub Scout program, use the kids that are currently involved, and we can give you a small stipend. So, I mean, we want to keep and recruit quality. We call them program specialists. So there's Cub Scout leaders on our side. We call them program specialists, and so they meet at least a minimum of 2 times a month, interact with the kids, and then if they decide to take them on different outings, there's incentive pay for that as well. But volunteering obviously means work for free. But I take the people who are on my side. We actually take care of them financially. But volunteer opportunities. So everyone wants. Let's say your group, you have a group of scouts, you've adopted the scouting program. So now your group of scouts, I get phone calls all the time. Like, I need someone to come by and beautify my school, repaint this. There's always these service projects that we're allowed to do. And so if you need some help, call me, and there's a troop or a pack nearby that wants to come out and support. So there's youth volunteer opportunities, there's adult volunteer opportunities. So there's a lot of volunteer opportunities.
Yeah. Here's one from my man, Superman T. Will. He says, are there any STEM involvement programs?
That's a great question. So we used to have a STEM program, used to call STEM Scouts. And I think we were one of the frontline programs that kind of launched in that space. Currently, there's a lot more people who are like laser focused on that, and they probably have more robust. So we kind of stepped away from that space. We had launched one in, I'll brag on that. It's not around here. It's in Gary, Indiana. We launched one with the Lynx in Gary, and they actually sent out modules. So they were teaching girls about gravity. They were teaching the kids about making slime. So we had a whole robust program. We don't currently utilize it here at the Circle 10, but we were in that space for a minute. Boy Scouts, we're going through a restructuring at the national level, so we had to downsize some of our program. We were one of the first ones to kind of go in that STEM direction, but currently in Circle 10, we don't have any STEM programs currently. There are STEM activities within scouting, but as far as like long-term curriculum, we don't have any right now. Okay. But Terrence, if you hit me offline, I can probably get in touch with the young lady in Gary and get you some stuff if you guys are looking for some curriculum.
So I'll make sure that Terrence get your info so he can reach out to you. Ladybug, you want to take this one right here? Don't feel like reading it much.
Reaganomics makes parents work harder and spend less time. I want to make sure I got that out right. And spend less time in the home and engage with their children, coupled with the influx of drugs into our community and the subsequent war. Our drugs took a toll on our community. So that is more of a statement than a question. Yeah. So I mean, I guess they're talking about Reaganomics. So Ronald Reagan, and I think a lot of I can blame Clinton for some of the stuff that he's done as well, not just here, but also in Haiti. And, I feel like we are at a pivoting moment here, especially inside of certain brown and Black communities, where we have to start not expecting just these outer institutions and places to help us, but coming closer in. They always say the midterms, and I hate to go political, are one of your most important votes. Well, if you look at it that way, that community-based structure is one of the most important things that you can do to combat the influx of drugs into the community. So I think that, yes, our government officials do have a responsibility, but I think that we do have to remember what our responsibility is as well to our community. That's where we live and work and spend our dollars. That's another thing. Spending our dollars inside of our community also helps foster a better community. So that leads us back to entrepreneurship. So, I mean, that the comment that they're making is right, but I don't just blame one administration I blame a systemic over time and involvement of these concrete jungles that have been created. So then you lead into the broken window theories, and then it's just another block. It's another run around the block. So, what BSA is doing, what the summit is doing, is we are trying to come together to make sure that we don't take the finger and point out, that we're also pointing in at our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, and actually remembering that we have to step away from these screens and we have to come together, meet each other, have your own block parties, get to know your neighbors. Those things, when you get to know the people around you, it helps you. You think about it, kids tend to act a lot better when they know that there's somebody. Well, they're not gonna act up if they know auntie around the corner in the same room, because it's gonna get back to Grandma Pearl and she gonna tell somebody else. So I mean, that's rebuilding, our communities. That's getting to know each other again. And that's something and if we have to figure out a way to do it from these big screens and our phones, then that's another thing. We have to meet people where we are. And so maybe that's where the disconnect is.
So this next one is a question for Scouts and for the summit. I'll let Ty address it first, and then Ladybug, if you can address it for the conversation summit. Is there an age limit?
There is. So Boy Scouts, we're co-ed, boys and girls. So we start at kindergarten, and we go all the way till 18. So you have until 18 to complete your Eagle requirement, or you graduate from high school. So those are the only age requirements. But we do accept brothers and sisters. So if you have a young person and they got a small tribe of little brothers and sisters, they can come too. They can participate.
Bring them all out. Right on. And Ladybug, for is the community, the conversation summit, the age limit?
I think that for the conversation summit, we want everybody that has an idea that's a part of the community to come and be a part of this. We are asking for everybody to come out, but we are putting a special focus on the youth in our community. And so that's why we've geared so many events and programs around this. Instead of taking that day to sit on the sofa and scroll on our phones and our computers, let's get out and meet someone. Let's get out and that idea that they've had, and you look up, it's always, oh, I had that idea, but somebody did it first. So don't let somebody take your idea. If you parents out there, if your kids are always coming to you and they have an idea, they want to pull something, you bring them there, but tell them to put it together, because this is not just where you're going to come and stand up and talk about something. We want to know that you've put together research the information and make sure you put together something that is sound and something that you can speak to. This is a fun version of your personal own Shark Tank. So have fun, be creative, but most of all, be prepared. We want you to be prepared.
That's a good motto. I think the Boy Scouts should steal it. That's the Boy Scout motto. Be prepared. So really, I'll come prepared.
And I would just add on that part, even I don't want you to put so much thought or you talk yourself out of it. The panel of judges, and Ty, he'll be one of them. They're gonna be prepared to offer their insight, their opinion, or their educated opinion on what you could and shouldn't be doing too. So
Daniel, you want me to hit this question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Daniel says, do you do anything around water or swimming activities?
That's a great question, and it's actually very interesting in the Black community, because I've always been comfortable around water, and so when people say Black people don't swim, I didn't prescribe it. But working with the Boy Scouts, I think that's an area. And so what we do, there's merit badge clinics, there's merit badge counselors, and so we do. Anytime the older boys primarily go to summer camp, they have to take a swim test. And so usually there's preparation for that. So their leader will, rent out, go take the boys to the pool, and there's certain requirements they have to learn: how to tread water, how to swim, all the other fun stuff. I'm not a swim expert, but they make sure all the boys are trained. The first day after they take a swim test, they get a tag, and it basically says where they can participate. We are fortunate to have at Trevor Reese Jones, that where we have our fishing fun day, is our tons of lakes, and they're swimmable. So you go in there, and the last couple of years they've had those big flotation things where you jump on them and you fly off. So I mean, we got tons of water sports. There's actually Camp Constantine, which is primarily water. So I mean, they do canoeing, boating, sailing, fishing. So Boy Scouts, we have the cornerstone on preparing young people to be around water, be around safe. So yes, we do everything for water and swimming activity. Yes.
That's dope. And we got one more, and then we got another topic we're going to bring up right here. She says, applying for volunteering, how long is the application process?
It's a simple process. It's an application. You fill out name. We do ask for sensitive information. We do a thorough background check. I mean, if you've heard of any of the negative stuff about Boy Scouts in the news, just to clear that up, we not to get in the weeds on that. Let me just answer the question. So volunteering is easy. You fill out an application. You have to take a thing called youth protection training. And it basically, it's an hour-long training, but it's very good information. We talk about two deep leadership, where there's no scout or young person that's allowed to be one-on-one with any adult. You always have two people around. We also go into text messaging, young people. So if I'm a leader, I'm going to text the young person and the parent. But youth protection training goes into all that, the do's and don'ts. It protects you. It protects the children. The application's fine. The background check, usually you won't hear anything about it unless it's bad. There's a couple questions on, have you had any felonies or whatnot? And if you answer it honestly, we've had people who, 50 years old, but when they were 18 made a mistake and they're fine. But if it was last week, you might not be able to volunteer. But it's an easy process. We have background checks, so it's very good.
Yeah. Here's one for you, Ladybug, and maybe Ty, you might have some information on this as well. But this is for the summit. Will there be information to guide young person on how to trademark their brand? What do you think, Ladybug? You want to?
Yeah, sounds like, I don't know. I think there will be information there. We actually, one of our partners is actually, pretty sound at help building brands. We have a couple of vendors that are going to be there that would be able to share. And then one of the prizes that we're offering to help, to help build a business, especially if you win, and there'll be 3 different winners in the pitch contest. And so as we move through the process during the pitch contest, one of the winners will receive some branding. So we'll make sure we have information there to help anybody. If you need information now, just reach out to the Floor is Yours podcast and ask for and dash Angelia. And I'll know that message is for me. I can go out and give you as much information as possible. So go to the Floor is Yours, message us, Angelia, after your comment, dash, and I'll get right to it. And so I do have a host of information. Who's that? Yo, Nathan Long.
It's Nate.
One of my fraternity brothers.
Yeah.
We have and Nigel Jones will also be at the Conversation Summit as well, and he has a great background, so there might be some extra help that he can loan out too.
Yeah. So this is one person, probably my favorite question on here. Do you offer any financial or credit literacy for youth?
We do. So Boy Scouts, we have a tremendous, like I said, we've expanded the library on merit badges, but that's one of those things where when a scout wants to earn that merit badge, they just go and get the book. And the cool thing about when you earn a merit badge, it's not one of those things like, ScoutsBSA, I read this and I should get it. They actually quiz you to make sure you know and understand the information. They go through the book. And so it's not as in-depth as I would like. I think there's a lot more people in the community doing more in-depth, especially targeted towards our community. I have a young lady on my staff who does that, but there are other people. So I think what we need to do is probably quarterly, in my mind, is kind of host something for our community. Because I think, I don't know what, I recently read that's going to be instituting part of some high school's curriculum, which I wish it had been part of my high school curriculum, because I think as young people, it's cool to understand geometry and trigonometry, but balancing budget and financial literacy and understand credit and good credit and bad credit, and then answer the question like, is college for me? Should I go vocation? Should I become an entrepreneur? What classes are necessary for college? I mean, I think sometimes we get brainwashed that I got to go to college. And and sometimes if you are a liberal arts person who just gets a general degree, and you're not going to land in that space that you want, and now you're in debt. And I think you got to have that focus on, this is what I want my degree in, or this is what I want to do as a job. And some of those jobs don't require a college degree; they just need certification or tutoring or
licenses.
Yes.
Yes, and that's definitely the gamut that we know a lot of people have always been taught as youth, and our parents have always instilled in us. You need to go to college. You need to go to college. You need to work for a great company. You need to work for a great company, and not understanding the side of entrepreneurship and leadership inside the community. Now,
I wanted to just jump. So I don't think anything wrong with, like,
going
let's say going to college. But my thing is the networking piece that Flex was talking about, like internship, talk to people in that space, talk to people in that field. That maybe after you talk to them, like, I don't want to do all that. Or I love that. That's in gravitate. Because one thing I'm trying to instill in my older two children is building their resume now with things that they want to do. So when they get in that space, they, they're going to get picked first because, I see you took these 3 classes over the summer or these. So, you got to prepare yourself for the next step. And if you're not building on your brand now, and I don't, it doesn't have to be. Yeah, I mean, and that's just my 2 cents. I got.
I love that. I love. Start building your brand now. If you go out here on these social media pages and you see people that are pushing their children, they are pushing because they understand that now is where you begin to make them successful for later. It doesn't always happen for everyone overnight. So start now. And you've already sowed those seeds. So when they start to grow, they're ready. You secured them. You've got them tight. They understand money matters, like Terrence William asked. Now there's another question, and I know we were going to wrap the questions up, but I think this is a good one. This one are there scholarships available for the boys?
Yeah, definitely. So if you partner with me, our program it's free to join. There are opportunities to participate, and I mean, we do sales. We do different sales. There's popcorn sales, there's camp car sales. You don't have to participate, but if there's the only thing that is significantly cost is a trip to Philmont. Philmont's one of our bigger. It's in New Mexico. It's a very expensive trip. So, but we offer scholarships for everything. So, I mean, everything. I think what Flex touched on earlier is we make it. We subsidize a lot to make it financially feasible for everyone in our community. Okay. So yes, we offer scholarships.
And you said the trip is where?
So Philmont Scout Ranch. It's one of the oldest, and it's 1,000 acres. It's huge. It's one of the pinnacle trips that you want to take as a scout, but it's called Philmont. It's in New Mexico. That's real scouting. I don't mind spending the night in the tent, but I mean, they go on, 25, 30-mile hikes, and then they pack in and pack out, meaning if you go down the trail, you hike for 10 miles, open up your tent, set up shop, next morning pack up, walk another 10 miles.
So what are those type of activities? Like, in my mind, some people might say, like, what's the use? So what can you learn from those kind of activities?
Just perseverance and self-awareness. I mean, I think I was a Cub Scout, first, second grade, and then sports took my eye, and that was my focus. But as an adult and a professional scouter, I take young men on scouting trips, and just to see them, I learned how to start a fire. I know how to type do certain knots. I know how to set up a tent. I spent a week at camp. I learned how to fish. And so I think there's the things that you unlock in yourself that you don't even know. And I think certain communities, ours, is like, I don't like going outside. I don't like, there's a huge Black camping community, and if you got Southern brothers and sisters, that's what they do. And I think we got to get out of the stigma, like, that's not for us. I think, and that's the big thing. That's not for us. It is for us. It can be. It can be. So I think, but it's just anytime a young person does something that's outside of their box, I think that sense of accomplishment that I can do anything. I think we just need to unlock that more and more. And so, and sometimes it doesn't have to. I mean, we have tech stuff and so we do stuff indoors, but like, I love the outdoor stuff. It's just the only thing is moving down here to tech. It is warm. It is really warm. I'll take y'all winter over your summer because it's got 80 the other day in this winter. It's 110 and so.
Yeah. So here's and this will be for the summit and for the scouts. So I'll let Ty answer first. Where do you go to join?
Well, so there's a website, but I will can we put my email up there? Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
send me some contact information and I will point you in the right direction. So ty.washington@scouting.org. And I will get you connected. Mr. Lott is on here. I am not an army of one. I have a tremendous team. I want to give him a shout out. I know Brother Lott will tell him Ty didn't say nothing about us. So Nathan
Hey,
Lott is
hey,
my
we see him in the comments. We see Ty in the comment. I mean, we
Was it
see
Scout or Scouts with an S?
Yeah, that's perfect. TyWashington.scouting.org. Nathan Lott's my district
Oh,
director. He runs the whole Division One. We had hired a new young lady, Mercedes Alvarenga. She's over Division Two, and Sharon Roan. We stole her from California. She is over Division Three, and Mr. Payne. David Payne runs our middle school program. We actually have adopted 4 middle school programs that we Tuesday through Friday. He's in one middle school the whole day, and he's doing scout skills with those young people. Comstock,
that's awesome.
Paul Quinn College. I'm drawing a blank. I'll think of the other 2, but he does an amazing program. So I mean, we're kind of everywhere trying to be as impactful in the community as possible. But I appreciate Brother a lot. He saves me a lot. He saves me a lot.
oh yeah, man. He thinks the world
Well,
of
you
you.
guys have a wonderful team. You
Yeah.
guys seem like you have a wonderful team here. You're poaching people from California.
Yes, we are. Oklahoma.
Wow.
Y'all have what's the region that y'all cover here? It's
So my jurisdiction is the entire DFW area. Well, there's that line. We don't go into Fort Worth, but mainly South Dallas. But anywhere we go all the way up to Garland, Keller. I mean, we provide program pretty much anywhere. So mainly the DFW area. We're trying to focus on South Dallas. It's in our backyard, the most bang for our buck. But we can, if there's a need, we will definitely come out and support.
Good.
man, that's dope, man. Well, I can't wait to hear you, man. So we've been talking about the scouts, but you and I had some great conversations, and one of the ones that I enjoyed the most, we was talking about relationships. You big on family, and I know you mentioned your kids. You're married, you have kids, and one of the things I asked you was, has communication always been a strength of yours? You know, and, you said that you come from a family of educators, right?
I do. Yeah, my mom was a first grade teacher. My dad was a communication major, but it's funny. He did a similar job. He worked for General Motors, but he was a district sales manager, so he operated out of a district. But yeah, communication is huge.
Yes.
As you can tell, I come from a long line of talkers. So anybody coming to Washington, be prepared to listen a lot because we just gonna talk you to death. But I think it's the one thing I learned is from my dad primarily. My mom was a good conversation, but my dad asked a lot of questions. So he would always. My buddies used to love to come over because he'd ask them what's going on and what's your next step and how you preparing for that. And I mean, stuff they weren't thinking about. A lot of my buddies didn't have dads in the house, so they loved coming over and bouncing stuff off my dad. But I think communication is key. And they that adage of your net worth is, if you look at your network, that'll tell you what your network. And I was able to be surrounded by a lot of good brothers and sisters, and just so my network is huge. So I still reach out to all my friends for advice, and locally I've been able to expand my network locally. So like I said, I met I'm meeting y'all, and so now we start out with family. So
yes. Now, let me
huge.
ask you, what college do you hail from?
The University of Akron. It's in Northeast Ohio.
Okay. All
Most
right.
people down here don't know where that is. Where LeBron James grew up. That's
Okay. Listen, is that how you? It's like, where LeBron James grew up.
It's like your landmark right there, right? That's it. Yeah.
Well, LeBron James.
Another thing that we had talked to Brother a lot about when I first introduced him to Ladybug and Tamika was the challenge with getting Black and brown kids into the program. And what we talked about was it's going to take the parents being more involved, and he talked about that challenge. So our idea, for the pitch contest was that, like, let's encourage parents to build businesses with kids, and it sounded good in my mind, and I think it's a great idea, but we're still trying to figure out how to present that and how to best sell that. And now I'm putting you on the hot seat. How do you think, or do you think we can do it differently, or another way to pitch that idea out there to encourage the parents and kids to come out and be a part of this?
Well, it's one of those things like we had, and if I spiral out, bring me back. Sometimes I go on these tangents, but
we here for it.
Yeah.
So, and I go through anecdotes. So I took linguistics in college, and there was 1 week where we went over Ebonics, and like all the black kids would get mad, and I stayed because Ebonics wasn't talking down to black people. That just to understand it was, these were former slaves, and so the kids were getting marked down because they wrote and spoke differently. They were trying to teach the white counterpart teachers how to. He said the sentence correctly, but in his house it just sounds differently. So I'm setting this up. So the reason I'm saying that is there was a study that the Boy Scouts did, and it basically talked about Caucasian families. These are the things that they look for in scouting. Asian families, this is what they look for in scouting. African American families look for this in scouting, and Hispanic families. And so once I learned that, and wasn't mad at like, oh, you're stereotyping me, you put me in a box. What they said about African Americans, it wasn't bad. It said what we want for our children. We want our children to be number one. We want our children to be, our baby to be the best. We want our child to be the team captain. We want our child to be the shining star. Now, negatively, we can say like it's a very individual thing and he's not about team. But what I heard was you want your son to be the patrol leader. You want him to be in charge of this. You want him to get that Eagle Scout ring and get that recognition. And so I think when we're trying to bring our families together, we got to find those key things that they want for our children, and how can we bring that out of them, and how can they be a part of you by you showing up and showing out for your kid. This is how you can get them to this thing that they want. And I think we gotta. I'm good at like sifting through the good stuff and not taking out the negative stuff. But I thought that was good, and it helped me translate a lot of what I do to the schools and the principals. And I got a lot of great volunteer parents on board. And I got a bunch of Eagle Scouts, young men and women who are now proud members to be part of Eagle Scouts. So it's great.
I love that. I love that. And that leads to the testament of your communication, because what you just explained to us and what you just broke down was the process of taking out that information and sifting through and bringing the importance together, and what you saw and learned and communicated through that whole exchange. So those are things that that should be on a microphone. And in these type of instances, something like that scenario, I think helps also bridge together differences that races have with one another. I mean, that's kind of how I see that. I mean, and it's important that if we had about 15 more of you, that would probably make things a lot easier. But since we can't do that, we rely on BSA and places like that to help us continuously bring up these young entrepreneurs, these young visionaries that are not just, oh, he's so well spoken. No, there's something behind, there's something behind that. There's context and content that is worth listening to. So I think that our young brothers and sisters are more than just well-spoken, and you've proved that here this evening. Everything that you're saying is what we want the summit to be, what we want to bring out in our, just in this first stop of this leg of what we're doing. We want to be able to reach out to the youth and say, hey, this is what you can do for your family, and it starts here. This one event could change not one life. One young man can come, or young woman or person can come here and say, this one event I went to as a kid has helped me help millions of people. So that's what this is all about. So each one teach one and reach many. So I love all the comments that we've had in the comment section. What Flex has put up. Now, my eyes are bad, so I'm gonna have to, my eyes are bad. Now, you're gonna put us on with some small print.
Hey, let me see if I can blow that up a little bit. My bad. How about this?
So basically, what this is saying to us basically is empowering our youth and building leaders for today. And as we continue to face certain times, we must also acknowledge that children are also dealing with the uncertainty of everyday life. of school, and just of home life, and the various relationships that we are focused on are helping our youth have a stronger sense of self, display confidence, self-respect, and respect for others. And that's something that I think we need most in our communities, to make sure that our youth are respectful to our elders. We are living in times where we're not assisting and helping people that are aging in place. We're actually hurting them. So the conversation is providing a 2-day event and engagement for the city's youth that will educate the youth, and it will bring in resources to help face today's challenges. So just helping people be prepared and preparing them for tomorrow. So creating family legacy are an important part of a child's growth. So that's what we're here for. And it's pitch competition is going to do that. It's created for the youth. It's entrepreneur, well, you know what I'm trying to say. But what we want is we want everybody to show up as well. So remember to go out to the conversationsummit.com. If you need to find out more information, you can also go out to Moshe. And you can basically, just find out what we're doing here. See if this is something that you want to involve your child. See if this is something that you yourself might have an idea. Moshe.org. We'd like to say thank you again to, if someone can throw up Mogul Media, throw up our Mogul partners out here. And always, we are here on the podcast to help you at the Floor is Yours podcast. If you forget where to go, if you can't remember Ty or Nathan or Mercedes or any of these names that we've thrown out here today, don't be afraid to go out here and ask us on The Floor is Yours on Facebook, social media, YouTube. Always like, comment, and subscribe. Stay in the loop. We're posting. We're going live. We're bringing our officials here that are going to come back and they're going to talk to us every evening up until the day of the event. We've got Angelia Pelham coming, Curtis. So we've got a host of people coming here. It's been an amazing evening. We were supposed to go for 30 minutes. We are looking at 52. And that's because Ty is just bringing the information. He is in his element. We appreciate him. He hailing from Akron and he loves it and we love it. and we just want to speak to the form of the leadership, and entrepreneurship. And so that can be you and your children, stepping forward and doing the right thing. And then you're right, Nathan. Thank you for coming out in the comments and keeping us laughing. And that support is always great. So I'm going to kick it over to Flex. We're going to start off Flex. Well, let me start off with my parting thoughts. My parting thoughts are on March the 17th and the 18th at the Embassy Suites Hotel in Frisco. We want to see you guys there with your family. We want you to bring your children. This is family. This is a family event. And we want you. Yes, Tamika says, thank you so much, Ty. This was an amazing conversation. He was an amazing guest tonight. He will also be at the Conversation Summit. And so he said he likes to talk. Well, he's going to have conversation for you there too. So bring your questions, bring your ideas, bring your children. Be prepared when you come. We're going to have a marvelous night. Remember, we've got the play going. After that, we've got Zarina. She's going to come in. She has activities with the children. We've got Nigel there. He's going to speak with us. Nigel's going to talk about his journey in life as where he was in the music industry, coming out of that and then finding purpose. So again, we want to also teach our children that there is more to life than and sports and music are okay, but there are other things out there, and that being your creative self is the most important thing, because that's going to keep you the happiest, and no matter what your job is, right? So I'm going to kick it over. So those are my parting thoughts. I want to see you there. And I want you to bring your energy, and I want you to bring your family with you, and let's just have a great event. So Flex, parting thoughts, and then we're going to let Ty close us out. Ty, the pressure's on you. You say you like to talk. Come on now.
My parting thoughts is two parts. First part is just simple as this: give the youth a chance. Give your kids a chance. Do more than just providing the latest, greatest technology and the best clothes. Give them a chance. These type of opportunities don't come often. So please come out, participate, and be a part of it. And the second part is, I just want Ty to answer this question before he goes into his parting thoughts. Ty,
I saw it. I was thinking about it. I am old school. I believe in tough love. I believe in structure. I believe in transparency. I teach my older children now that they're being exposed to television and TV and all that social media, and I try to explain like this is the real world, and all that fluffy stuff you see on television isn't always real. And
That's right.
surround yourself with people that are going to be transparent and love you. And so I think as far as closing the gap, the way that these kids are taught, I think we have to. Accountability is huge. I think the way we grew up, the accountability was always on us. If we got in trouble, mom was hitting us, and then we trying to explain what really happened. And now it's kind of spun around where these kids, they feel untouchable. And so I think it starts at home with setting those boundaries with our young people. And because the one thing is, if authority is brought out, the response is very different. And I think want to explain it. I try to tell, be safe. The one thing I tell my children is do not give them a reason. And that goes across different, if it's authorities, if it's a job, if it's school, don't give them a reason to expel you. Don't give them a reason to arrest you. Don't give them a reason to fire you. So those are just things that I teach my children. But I think we have to, each one, if you're responsible for X, like try to set those boundaries so that when an authority figure tells them something, not that they just have to accept it, because a lot of our children like to challenge it, but one, respect it and then challenge it in the correct way. You don't get to go off on everybody. Maybe it's a sidebar after the class and have a conversation. Right. If you're going to include an adult, do that. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered the question. That's just my
It did, man.
It answered a lot of questions. I love it.
That wasn't your official parting thoughts, though. So now it's time for your parting thoughts.
I want to first thank Flex and Ladybug for having me on here. This was an amazing platform. You guys are doing amazing things. I can't wait to meet all of you if you come out to the Conversation Summit at the Embassy on March 17th and 18th. So please come out. I'd love to meet everyone. If you have questions about scouting and how you can get involved, if you have questions on how I can bring that program to you, that you have my email. But I'd love to meet you at the summit. I think you guys are doing some great things, and I just it's an honor to be a part of this conversation. I'm so glad that you guys are doing this. I think it's amazing.
Thank you so much.
You'll close us out, Ladybug.
All right. Thank you guys again. Thank you for tuning in tonight. If you have more questions, keep popping them in the chat. There was a few I didn't get to either, but that's okay. Again, on March the 17th and 18th, there is an opportunity. So again, we love to see you guys there at the Conversation Summit, Embassy Suites Hotel. Remember to go out to all of our platforms and BSA and go out and be a part of your community. Again, be a part of your community. Lead a house. It's okay. It's okay to lead a house. You're going to be good. I promise you. So again, thank you guys so much tonight. Thank you for everyone in the chat. Thank you for all our friends and family for reaching out. Thank you, Mogul. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And most importantly, thank you, Ty. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Let me do it for you. Baby, the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I mean the floor is yours. If it come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how I prove the floor is yours. 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 The floor is yours.
Hey, I love it.
Hey, tune in Sunday. We got a hot show for you Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Is my mate a narcissist?
Oh, Lord.
I appreciate everybody.
Yikes.